The children who once lit up movie screens and living rooms often seemed untouchable. Their smiles felt effortless. Their fame felt magical. But growing up in public came with a cost few people ever saw. Some found new purpose. Some disappeared into private life. And some left behind stories that still feel unfinished. Before we begin, I would love to know where you are watching from and what time it is in your corner of the world. Please share it in the comments and enjoy this walk through some unforgettable lives. Shirley Temple. Shirley Temple became Hollywood's brightest child star through films like Bright Eyes. With her songs, curls, and impossible cheer, she became a symbol of hope during hard times. As she grew older, her screen magic faded, but her story did not. She later served her country as a diplomat and died in 2014 at 85. River Phoenix. River Phoenix rose to fame through Stand By Me and deepened his reputation with My Own Private Idaho. He carried a rare sensitivity that made him feel older than his years and far more fragile. Behind that brilliance, addiction darkened his short life. He died in 1993 at just 23, leaving behind immense lost promise. Jodie Foster. Jodie Foster became a child star through Disney films and then stunned audiences in Taxi Driver. She stood out for her intelligence, control, and emotional precision, even at a very young age. Growing up under fierce public attention could have broken her career, but it never did. Now 63, she remains an acclaimed actress and director with 2 Academy Awards. Bobby Driscoll. Bobby Driscoll became one of Disney's most beloved young stars and the voice of Peter Pan. For a time, he represented the studio's golden image of boyhood adventure and charm. But as he grew older, the industry turned away, and his life unraveled into addiction and poverty. He died alone in 1968 at 31, a heartbreaking Hollywood cautionary tale. Ron Howard. Ron Howard became beloved as Opie Taylor on The Andy Griffith Show, and later reached even wider fame on Happy Days. His warmth and natural ease made him feel like America's boy next door. Instead of being trapped by child stardom, he reinvented himself behind the camera. Now 72, he is one of Hollywood's most respected Oscar-winning directors. Heather O'Rourke. Heather O'Rourke became unforgettable as Carol Ann in Poltergeist. Her innocence and eerie calm gave horror one of its most haunting child performances. Just as a longer career seemed possible, her life was cut short by sudden illness, turning her story into one of the saddest in child star history. She died in 1988 at only 12. Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen became famous sharing the role of Michelle Tanner on Full House. They grew from sitcom toddlers into a cultural phenomenon, turning childhood fame into an empire of books, videos, and brands. Rather than cling to screen nostalgia, they walked away from acting. Now 39, they are better known as influential fashion designers than former child stars. Jake Lloyd. Jake Lloyd became instantly recognizable as young Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars Episode 1. That role tied him forever to one of the biggest franchises in movie history and made him the target of intense attention. The pressure of fame and later personal struggles pushed him away from acting. Now 37, he lives privately and continues a long recovery journey. Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell first gained notice as a Disney child star in family films and television. He had the easy confidence and all-American appeal that made studios trust him from a young age. Unlike many former child actors, he escaped typecasting and grew into a durable leading man. Now 75, he remains admired across action, drama, and westerns. Jonathan Brandis. Jonathan Brandis became a teen sensation through Sequest DSV after earlier roles in Ladybugs and The Never-Ending Story 2. He had the kind of youthful charisma that made him a magazine favorite and a familiar face of the 1990s. But adult roles grew scarcer and his momentum stalled painfully. He died in 2003 at 27, leaving fans with lingering sadness. Margaret O'Brien. Margaret O'Brien became one of MGM's most beloved child stars, especially through Meet Me in St. Louis. Her emotional honesty made her unforgettable and earned her a Juvenile Academy Award. Unlike many young stars, her story was not defined by scandal, but by graceful endurance. Now 89, she is honored as one of classic Hollywood's most treasured surviving child actresses. Brad Renfro. Brad Renfro rose to fame as the troubled young lead in The Client. His raw screen presence made him feel less polished than other young stars and far more real. That same intensity carried into a life marked by addiction and repeated legal trouble. He died in 2008 at 25, remembered for both talent and the tragedy that followed him. Danica McKellar. Danica McKellar became beloved as Winnie Cooper on The Wonder Years. She gave First Love a face, and her gentle intelligence helped define one of television's most nostalgic romances. Instead of fading into a cautionary tale, she built a second identity beyond acting. Now 51, she still appears on screen and is also widely respected as a math author. Scotty Beckett. Scotty Beckett became known through Our Gang and later appeared as a young leading man in studio-era films. He had the polished, all-American look Hollywood loved in his child players, but his adult life collapsed under addiction, arrests, and instability after fame faded. He died in 1968 at 38, another reminder of how fragile early success could be. Melissa Gilbert. Melissa Gilbert became the heart of Little House on the Prairie as Laura Ingalls. Her warmth, spirit, and emotional openness helped turn the series into a lasting television treasure. Yet growing up in public brought intense scrutiny, personal strain, and health challenges. Now 61, she has embraced a calmer life and leads the lifestyle brand Modern Prairie. Tommy Kirk. Tommy Kirk became one of Disney's brightest young stars in Old Yeller and the Shaggy Dog. He fit the studio's clean-cut image so perfectly that his future once seemed secure. But scandal, depression, and later struggles pushed him out of mainstream Hollywood. He died in 2021 at 79, remembered for Disney fame and a life that veered off course. Frankie Muniz. Frankie Muniz became famous as Malcolm on Malcolm in the Middle. His fast-talking wit and restless energy made him the face of a very modern kind of television childhood. Instead of staying centered on acting, he shifted much of his identity toward racing. Now 40, he is known both for his sitcom legacy and for competing in professional motorsports. Baby Peggy. Baby Peggy became one of silent cinema's biggest child stars, while still barely old enough to understand fame. Her popularity was enormous, and her workload was punishing, making her a vivid example of how early Hollywood exploited children. Yet she rebuilt her life with dignity. She died in 2020 at 101 as author, historian, and advocate Diana Sarah Carey. Angela Cartwright. Angela Cartwright became beloved as Brigitte von Trapp in The Sound of Music and later as Penny Robinson in Lost in Space. That gave her a rare double legacy in musical nostalgia and television fantasy. Rather than stay trapped in acting, she moved toward a more private creative life. Now 73, she is respected as a photographer, artist, and author. Johnny Crawford. Johnny Crawford became America's young hero as Mark McCain on The Rifleman. His sincere screen presence and later pop music success made him feel like the son many viewers watched grow up. Adult fame never matched that early image, and his final years were marked by Alzheimer's disease. He died in 2021 at 75, still tied to classic television memory. Fred Savage. Fred Savage became beloved as Kevin Arnold on The Wonder Years. His face and voice came to define television nostalgia, first crushes, and the ache of growing up. Unlike many child stars, he avoided public collapse and gradually moved behind the camera. Now 49, he is known as a director and producer as much as the boy who narrated Adolescence. Brandon DeWilde. Brandon DeWilde rose to fame as the unforgettable boy in Shane. His innocence gave one of the Western genre's most emotional endings its lasting power. Unlike so many others, his story was not shaped by decline, but by sudden interruption. He died in a car accident in 1972 at 30, leaving behind a career that seemed destined for much more. Jeff Cohen. Jeff Cohen became unforgettable as Chunk in The Goonies. His comic timing and lovable underdog energy helped make him one of the most recognizable child faces of 1980s adventure films. Instead of chasing acting forever, he took a sharply different path after childhood fame. Now 51, he is a successful entertainment lawyer, proving reinvention can sometimes be the best sequel. Jackie Coogan. Jackie Coogan became the first great Hollywood child star through The Kid with Charlie Chaplin. His fame was so enormous that he helped define what child stardom meant in the silent era. But his fortune was misused by his own family, helping expose a brutal truth about the business. He later played Uncle Fester and died in 1984 at 69. Carrie Henn. Carrie Henn is remembered almost entirely for one role, Newt in Aliens. Even with that single performance, she became one of science fiction's most memorable child survivors, fragile and fierce at once. Instead of staying in entertainment, she chose an ordinary life. Now 49, she is known for teaching and for the quiet legacy of that unforgettable film. Jonathan Gilbert. Jonathan Gilbert became familiar to millions as Willie Olson on Little House on the Prairie. He was part of one of television's warmest family worlds, even while playing mischief and trouble. But unlike several co-stars, he did not pursue adult fame or public nostalgia. Now 58, he lives privately and is associated with a later career in finance. Soleil Moon Frye. Soleil Moon Frye became instantly recognizable as Punky Brewster. Her bright, quirky charm turned the role into something bigger than a sitcom character and made her a symbol of 1980s individuality. Growing older meant stepping out from that fixed childhood image and reshaping her career. Now 49, she works across acting, directing, producing, and writing. Nikki Blonsky. Nikki Blonsky broke out as Tracy Turnblad in Hairspray. Her humor, confidence, and generous spirit helped make the role joyful and unforgettable. But after that breakout, her screen career never kept the same momentum, and the spotlight cooled quickly. Now 37, she is still remembered fondly for Hairspray, while also living a more grounded life beyond early fame. Bill Mumy. Bill Mumy became a science fiction favorite as Will Robinson on Lost in Space. His role helped define television fantasy for a generation and made him one of the era's most recognizable child actors. Instead of being trapped by that image, he kept creating in many directions. Now 72, he remains active as an actor, musician, writer, and comic creator. Beverly Washburn. Beverly Washburn became a familiar young face through films like Old Yeller. She brought real feeling to her performances, which helped her stand out among studio-era child players. Her life did not collapse after fame, but it moved quietly away from Hollywood. Now 82, she is remembered as a resilient former child actress with a steady legacy. Maureen McCormick. Maureen McCormick became beloved as Marcia Brady on The Brady Bunch. She embodied the sunny older sister image so completely that the role became part of television folklore. Behind that polished smile, however, came addiction, depression, and years of painful struggle. Now 69, she remains active in public life and often inspires people through her honesty about recovery. Tommy Rettig. Tommy Rettig became a television child star as Jeff Miller on Lassie. His bond with the famous dog made him one of the best-known young faces of 1950s family television. After leaving acting, he fought for a more ordinary identity and moved into the computer world. He died in 1996 at 54, remembered for stardom and later reinvention. Noah Hathaway. Noah Hathaway became forever linked to Atreyu in the never-ending story after earlier work on Battlestar Galactica. His brave, windswept image made him one of fantasy cinema's most memorable young heroes, but the demanding role in later years pulled him away from steady Hollywood visibility. Now 54, he lives more privately, with occasional appearances that keep the nostalgia alive. Claude Jarman Jr. Claude Jarman Jr. rose to fame as Jodie Baxter in The Yearling and won a Juvenile Academy Award. He brought sincerity and grace to one of classic Hollywood's most cherished childhood roles. Rather than letting early fame define everything, he built a respected life in film culture beyond acting. He died in January 2025 at 90, leaving a dignified legacy. Linda Blair. Linda Blair became unforgettable as Regan in The Exorcist. That role was so shocking and iconic that it permanently tied her name to one of horror's most disturbing films. But being linked forever to that childhood performance brought typecasting and relentless public fascination. Now 67, she devotes much of her life to animal rescue and the work of her foundation. Josh Saviano. Josh Saviano became familiar as Paul Pfeiffer on The Wonder Years. His loyal, slightly awkward charm made him an essential part of one of television's most nostalgic friendships. Instead of chasing adult roles, he stepped away from entertainment and built a professional life elsewhere. Now 50, he is known primarily for his work in law and business rather than acting. Ricky Schroeder. Ricky Schroeder became a child sensation in The Champ, and later a sitcom favorite on Silver Spoons. He had the emotional intensity of a film prodigy and the polished appeal of a television star. Yet his adult career never fully matched those early years. Now 56, he still acts and directs, but that child star image remains powerful. Deanna Durbin. Deanna Durbin became one of Universal's biggest young stars through musicals like Three Smart Girls. Her voice and screen charm were so valuable that she helped carry a studio through difficult years. Yet fame never felt like freedom, and she eventually rejected Hollywood almost completely. She died in 2013 at 91 after decades of private life in France. Melissa Sue Anderson. Melissa Sue Anderson became unforgettable as Mary Ingalls on Little House on the Prairie. Her gentle poise and emotional restraint made her central to some of the series' most moving moments. Rather than remain fully in the public nostalgia machine, she chose a quieter path. Now 63, she lives mostly outside the spotlight, remembered through her memoir in the series. Mickey Rooney Jr. Mickey Rooney Jr. was known as an original Mouseketeer, musician, and the son of a Hollywood legend. His place in nostalgia comes less from one defining role than from belonging to an entertainment family line. He never built a major long-term acting career of his own. He died in 2022 at 77, remembered more for music than screen stardom. Charlie Korsmo. Charlie Korsmo became one of the most recognizable young faces of the early 1990s through Hook and What About Bob. He had a smart, unusual screen presence that made him memorable beyond child star charm. Instead of pursuing adult fame, he walked away and built a future. Now 47, he is known more as a legal scholar than an actor. Bonita Granville. Bonita Granville rose to prominence in films like These Three and later became strongly associated with Nancy Drew. She had a sharpness that made her feel more forceful than many young actresses of her time. As acting slowed, she shifted from performer to influential producer. She died in 1988 at 65 after helping shape television through projects including Lassie. Johnny Whitaker. Johnny Whitaker became beloved as Jody Davis on Family Affair and later starred in Tom Sawyer. His red hair, bright smile, and easy charm made him one of television's most recognizable boys. But adulthood brought serious drug and alcohol struggles that sharply contrasted with that image. Now 66, he uses his story to help others through addiction counseling and advocacy. Martin Stevens. Martin Stevens is best remembered for the eerie child roles of Village of the Damned and The Innocents. His ability to look innocent and unsettling made him unforgettable in British cinema. But instead of staying in acting, he left the industry young and built a private life. Now 76, he is remembered as a former child actor turned architect. Alison Arngrim. Alison Arngrim became unforgettable as Nellie Olson on Little House on the Prairie. Her comic cruelty made her one of television's most memorable child villains and a perfect foil within that gentle world. Behind the scenes, however, her childhood held pain that she later spoke about openly. Now 64, she acts, writes, performs live, and remains a strong advocacy voice. David Dormus. David Dormus became familiar to television audiences through Nanny and the Professor and later appearances on The Waltons. He was one of those child actors whose face felt tied to family television. When acting slowed, he left the business and chose steadier work away from fame. Now 68, he is remembered as a former child star who built private life. Danny Pintaro. Danny Pintaro became well known as Jonathan Bauer on Who's the Boss and also appeared in Cujo. His role made him a familiar child face in one of television's most popular family comedies. Adulthood brought personal hardship, including addiction and later health revelations shared publicly. Now 50, he is known for resilience, health awareness, and messages of recovery. Barry Livingston. Barry Livingston became beloved as Ernie Douglas on My Three Sons. His underdog charm and dependable presence helped him stand out on one of television's longest-running family sitcoms. Unlike many former child stars, he kept working steadily rather than disappearing after youth. Now 72, he is still active occasionally and remains closely tied to that lasting television legacy. Mary Badham. Mary Badham became unforgettable as Scout Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird and earned an Oscar nomination at 10. Her performance remains one of the most admired child roles in American film, full of honesty and natural feeling. Yet she did not chase a long Hollywood career afterward. Now 73, she is still warmly linked to the film's moral legacy. Kevin Corcoran. Kevin Corcoran became one of Disney's best-known child stars through roles like Moochie and films such as Old Yeller. He was a familiar face of family adventure and boyhood mischief. Rather than remain only an actor, he later moved successfully behind the camera. He died in 2015 at 66 after a career that stretched beyond childhood fame. Kristy McNichol. Kristy McNichol became beloved through family and films like Little Darlings. She brought emotional honesty and a tomboy charm that made her feel unusually real to audiences. But the pressure of fame and private struggles eventually pushed her away from acting. Now 63, she has lived mostly outside the spotlight for years, choosing peace and privacy over continued celebrity. Stanley Livingston. Stanley Livingston became famous as Chip Douglas on My Three Sons. Viewers watched him grow up over many seasons, which gave him deep and durable nostalgia value. Instead of crashing after child fame, he stayed connected to the business and later focused on teaching others. Now 75, he is remembered both for the series and for mentoring actors through workshops. Danny Lloyd. Danny Lloyd is best remembered as Danny Torrance in The Shining. With only a few performances, he still became part of one of horror's most iconic images. But unlike many former child stars, he never tried to build a long career in Hollywood. Now 53, he is known for a quieter life in education as a biology professor. John Provost. John Provost became a beloved television child star as Timmy Martin on Lassie. His image became inseparable from one of America's warmest family series and its bond between boy and dog. After leaving the role, He chose a quieter life rather than chasing larger fame. Now 76, he writes, appears for fans, and supports causes connected to animals. Lindsay Greenbush. Lindsay Greenbush became best remembered for sharing the role of Carrie Ingalls on Little House on the Prairie. Even as a small child, she became part of one of television's most cherished family memories. But after that early fame, she did not remain in Hollywood. Now 55, she is remembered mainly through the enduring nostalgia of Little House. Sydney Greenbush. Sydney Greenbush also became best remembered for sharing the role of Carrie Ingalls on Little House on the Prairie. Together with her twin sister, she helped give the series some of its sweetest childhood images. But like many child performers, she stepped away once that chapter ended. Now 55, she is recalled primarily through the quiet innocence of that role. Mara Hobel. Mara Hobel is best remembered as young Christina Crawford in Mommy Dearest. That role gave her a permanent place in a film still discussed for its emotional intensity and disturbing family dynamics. Yet she never became a major mainstream star after childhood. Now 54, she is known as both a former actress and a mentor who teaches acting to children. Mike Veeder. Mike Veeder became a fan favorite as Benny the Jet Rodriguez in The Sandlot and later appeared in the Mighty Ducks sequels. He had the cool athletic energy that made him one of the most memorable boys in 1990s sports films. Instead of chasing acting, he chose public service. Now 47, he is known more as a Los Angeles firefighter. These lives remind us that childhood fame could open a door to wonder, but it could also leave lasting scars. Some found peace, some found purpose. Some never had the chance to grow into the lives they might have lived. If one of these stories stayed with you, please leave a comment and tell us which one you remember most. And if you enjoyed this journey, like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who still remembers these unforgettable faces.